to in like true road situations where you had a quick turnaround. When you went through the off season, did you change anything procedurally about how you handle the road, about activities, standard operating procedure?
No, standard operating procedure. No, our issues on the road had nothing to do with the logistics. No.
Mark, there's been a lot of negative stuff in the NFL and even in college football off the field. Do you think somehow Marcus can be good for the sport, I guess, with all the attention he's getting this year?
Well, I mean, if I had a son or a daughter, I would certainly, look up to Marcus. He's a person, a player in every regard that would epitomize what you'd want your son or daughter to be. And for that, we can be thankful and people can bank on that. But, obviously there's a lot of teachable moments for us as coaches and maybe society in general for a lot of these things that are going on.
How do you apply those teachable moments? Have you in the last 2-3 weeks with all that's
Sure.
going on?
Sure. We try to, we always talk about the mistake doesn't have to be yours to learn from it. And we talk constantly, again, we've talked about this, it's like parenting. Every single day there's something that we can apply to our guys, betterment. And whether that's, again, our mistake or somebody else's mistake, we try to use that as a learning experience for everybody.
How do you feel as a guy who's been in football your whole life to see these things happening at this point?
How do I feel about that?
How do you feel?
Well,
You're a guy who's loved this game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's certain elements of it. When you see, arguably the most powerful guy in sports, Roger Goodell, under attack, for lack of a better phrase, it's certainly a wake-up call for a lot of reasons. Life is different. Our guys, again, they get unprecedented support, abnormal support, abnormal expectations, and they need to behave, to that effect as well. And our guys realize that for the most part. We've got some young men that need to grow up and make great decisions, and we encourage that. We give them unconventional support in a lot of ways, and we expect, great things out of them. It's certainly not a statement on every person playing football in the world. I think there's so many great things that are either currently going on or have gone in the past that would certainly speak to that.
Lots been made of Washington State's offense this week. What challenges does their defense present you guys?
They're big, fast, talented. They've got a bunch of returners, especially the front seven. They're all back. The back end is inexperienced, but I think they're, arguably maybe better. I mean, obviously Dalen Buchanan was an unbelievable player, but just the experience that they have and a bunch of great players.
A lot of people, even names like Joey Harrington, have been calling Marcus the greatest quarterback ever at Oregon. What does that mean to you as a coach, knowing that you've coached him and as your program as a whole?
Well, I think, again, it just speaks to Marcus and our program, kind of guys like that saying that Marcus has been exceptional since the day he stepped on campus, on and off the field. And I think that's again, refreshing, as was alluded to earlier, kind of in, I don't want to say this day and age, because I think there's, everything's under a microscope right now and forever. And that's how our guys have to operate. But it's a statement for Marcus, it's a statement for our program and all the guys involved.
How about coming from Joey Harrington? Does that make it a little more special?
Sure. I mean, he's one of those guys that would definitely be in that conversation, and a guy that had a ton of success. I think he's, I've heard one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time, and was in a different situation in the NFL, and that's always tough to judge guys on their NFL career, but had a great run and no question.
Mike Leach said earlier this week that he believes Marcus has become a much better passer. He's been improving, especially in his accuracy. What have you seen that would attest to that?
I don't know. I mean, we've always thought he's pretty good and pretty accurate. People were complaining last week about the guy throwing 70% and didn't have 85, or whatever. That's kind of the standard he's set, which is cool and challenging and fun. But yeah, he's no question he's improved. I think the guys around him are playing better. We've still had too many drops in the first 3 games, but we've had some guys make some plays that they haven't before too. Whether it's Devin, Keenan, Charles, Darren Carrington, a bunch of guys making big plays too.
Is Byron a guy you would consider sort of that X factor on the offense going into conference play?
What do you mean?
Is he the guy, the way that you use him on offense, the way he can set up and give so many looks to defenses, is he a guy that you expect to be able to keep on?
It depends. I think that has to happen in concert with other guys playing really well too. That's a combination of Thomas Tyner playing well to be able to move Byron around. That's Royce, for the same deal, and then our receivers being good enough and deep enough to mix and match a little bit more. And so I think it's again a compliment to the whole group of guys, and Byron taking steps to be better in every phase.
Mark, at the end of the walkthrough that you guys do through the Casanova Center, you come over and you touch the O outside the stadium. What does that mean? Where did that ritual start? Was it maybe you?
When did that start? When did that start, Dave? I don't know. I think
I can't what year Chip obviously started it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It wasn't. Well, the genesis of it, I think, was Jim Radcliffe, of touching the O twice, once for the past and once for the future. So.
Now, they had a pretty well shut down Washington State. Did you learn a lot from watching them? Do they have a similar defense that you have, or how was?
It's like always. It's a lot of factors. I mean, they had a ton of drops. I know they watched that film. They had a ton of drops, a ton of kind of easy plays that they didn't make. Whether that's a read, whether that's a throw, whether that's a catch, but it wasn't some systematic breakdown. They did a good job of running the football and holding down the number of possessions that they had, and then maximizing by defensively getting off the field.